Okay, hi guys, good morning everybody. Welcome to our 30-minute live chat with the DID professor and head of DID, Prof. Christian. Before we start, if you have any questions, you can just type it into the questions icon at the bottom of the screen and we'll ask Christian. While we wait, could you introduce, tell us a bit more about yourself?
Hi, my name is Christian Boucharenc. I'm French. Originally, I'm an architect. I've been studying and working in France, Finland, Denmark, Japan, where I complete my PhD, and I've been living and working in Singapore during 17 years, almost 18 years this year. My specialty, my field of research is design fundamental. I wrote one book, and I'm currently working on the second book on design principle.
Maybe could you tell us a bit more about this book that you're writing?
This is since many years I wanted to develop a research because I found that there is some common principle between architecture, industrial design, and graphic design. So I started to do some research about the great master of the 20th century, Alvar Aalto, etc. Le Corbusier, and also some designers like Charles-Henri Eames, and I found that there is some common principle between those different disciplines. And I start to travel over the world. I interview 57 architect, graphic designer, industrial designer, and I managed to highlight a certain number of principles which are quite common who guide their work. And the principle is the principle of this book on design principle is to ask them to highlight those principles and to find immediately some image, some example of their project who illustrate. So it's one book which is for all people interested in the design field, not only professional. Who's covering three kind of many disciplines of the design field.
So cool. So how's the progress been?
I try to finish the analysis, the interview, the written part for December 2020. Then I will start to work with a graphic designer to select the image, which part of the text, and how to present. It's a very exciting journey. Yeah,
it does sound exciting. Yeah, thanks for sharing more about this book that you're writing on design principles. While we wait, for those who just joined us, if you're here, feel free to ask Prof. Christian, head of DID, any questions that you have. Just click onto the questions icon at the bottom and we'll pin your question. Okay, so maybe you could share a little bit more about what you teach here in DID. Like what's one thing that you always try to impart to your students?
Okay, so my field of research is design fundamental. We call that also basic design. This approach starts in the 20th century with the Bauhaus, the Vutemas, the Ulm School, the Chicago School. So it's a very specific methodology where we are giving the tools and the element of design to the student before moving to more complex projects. So during 1 year, the student this is my main field of research. During 1 year, the students are developing their skill, but also they try to find their own language. So it's a methodology which is rejecting all kind of copy and repetition. The repetition of the master was the base of the academic in the 19th century, and we try to develop the personality and the sensibility of each individuality during this year.
Yeah, I didn't know that was the background, the principle behind how you teach things in fundamentals. But thanks. Oh, okay, we have one question from Karen.
Hello, Karen.
What are some common misconceptions about design and ID, or ID?
What do you mean by misconception?
What do you mean by misconceptions, Karen? Maybe, do you know like any common misconceptions that people have of ID?
About some kind of misunderstanding.
Yeah, misunderstanding.
Yes, we call this course industrial design, and one of the reasons why we call industrial, because the industrial design really start at the end of the 19th century, after the Industrial Revolution, and during many years, the industrial design was related to mainly to the production. But now, currently, our program, for instance, we are not only doing object and producing, designing some object for the production. We are dealing with different disciplines, different domains. We have also some service design where we are developing some kind of system. So the field of industrial design is not limited anymore to the production of simple object of our everyday life. So many people believe that industrial design is related to something very engineering. Engineering
because of the word
yes,
industrial.
Because of the word. But engineering is very, very important part of industrial design. We are working closely with the engineer as a designer or as an architect, but we have definitely some domain which are related to sociology, to service design, psychology. I would like to say that little by little, industrial designer become like a sociologist. He is able to observe the society and not only solve problems, but propose some new model of living, a new proposition of living for society. So that's why there is maybe this, what you could call misunderstanding.
So it's related to how the term industrial has changed over the years.
So now the best way is to take a look at our website. We invite our friends to visit our website, and they will see the diversity. And they will see also the diversity of the background of our staff. We have people coming from different cultures. Some are specialized in service design, some are specialized in medical, in a medicine, some are more specialized in 3D CAD. Everyone has his own sensibility and different professional experience. So this is also one of the richness of our program. The diversity of our staff and also the diversity of in terms of culture and professional experience, definitely.
Thanks, Christian. Yeah, so I hope this answers your question, Karen. So I think Christian was saying, for those who just joined us, that a common misconception that people have of ID is that it's limited to like engineering and the physical products.
Yes, people think that.
And the production line. So like he was explaining about how the word industrial has evolved over the years, and that it also encompasses other aspects like services and systems. Yeah, so for those who are just here, like feel free to look up the variety of projects from the website that I just typed it in here into the chat. For those who just joined here, if you have any questions, just type into the question mark icon at the bottom of the screen, and we can pin your question so Christian can answer it. Yep. Okay. So just now, actually I'm quite curious because just now you were talking about the principle behind teaching fundamentals, that you want to get students to discover their own personality and their values.
Yes.
Maybe from your experience of working with like year one students like through fundamentals, like what's one project that has inspired you, or working with one student that has inspired you?
We have we have we have developed many different exercises which are currently on my book, Design for a Contemporary World. Some projects are more related to some skill, like a 3D metamorphosis. But when the student has developed some exercise of structure based on a simple piece of cardboard, for instance, they have to develop a CD rack or magazine rack, you see the extreme variety of the answer based on a very simple piece of cardboard. The fact that to voluntarily limit the materials and also the time, I would like to say that we are not teaching the creativity, but we are providing some environment and some structure which naturally help the student to develop his or her own creativity. So the CD rack was very important. Also the composition on free
what
material.
CD rack?
CD rack for the CD.
What was the brief?
The brief was to with one piece of cardboard of 1 meter square. They have to design a CD rack or a magazine rack. They are not supposed to use any glue or any metallic part. Everything should be delivered flat pack, like in IKEA, and built by and they have also to develop also the template, some kind of little notice to explain how to build it. So the process of construction for people who are not architect or designer.
So this was a year one fundamentals assignment. And what was the rationale for not allowing the students to use any glue or staple?
Because it pushed them
cardboard?
to understand the system of triangulation and the characteristic of the materials and how they can find some system to block the cardboard and it can be dismountable. The fact that you are not using steel or glue, that we can also dismantle very, very easily. And it's also we come with a constraint with using only one simple piece of cardboard and we have to cut it. It pushes students to be more creative in one way.
Yeah, that's
because
true.
to bring more constraint in one way, it's motor of creativity.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, usually having constraints helps a lot.
It guides the project,
Yeah. Okay, we have one question from hibernating. Is there a great focus on group projects or individual projects?
We try to mix. During the year one, most of the projects are individual. And when we reach the second, third, and fourth year, the first semester we have group project, but we have also individual project, and we try to find the right balance. The group project is absolutely crucial because if we have some 2 or 3 students maximum, it pushes them to interact, to develop some brainstorming, to respect the opinion. And I would like to say that when there is 3 brains working in the same direction, it's provide a bit in one way some kind of creativity. And I just interview a group of young designers, not so young because they are around 40 years old, in Lausanne, big game. They are 3, and they are doing a lot of brainstorming together, and it's helped them a lot because they challenge each other. So it's also they have when we work in a group, it's interesting that we have to forget our own ego and to be tolerant. We should challenge the other, but respect the other too. So it's a very, very interesting exercise. But also we need to preserve individual work, definitely.
Yeah, actually yesterday we had the last chat that we had was with Prof. Brian Stone and Nivi, a year 4 student, and we were talking about, someone asked the question, what skills did you pick up when you were in ID? And the surprising thing is that they were talking mostly about soft skills that they picked up, that Nivi picked up. So skills like how to work with many different types of personalities when they're in a group, how to manage group dynamics. Yeah, so I thought it was great that we had a combination of being forced into group projects many times and also having individual projects to discover what our own voices are. Yeah, thanks, Christian. Okay, go to another question. Let me see. Okay, we have a question from Kelly. Will it be possible to find an area in specialization during the course?
Absolutely. We, since now a few years, thanks to Dr. Yen Chun-Chuan, who was the previous head of the division, we have set a platform system where we are proposing to the student 14 platform, around 14 platform the first semester, 7 platform Monday and 7 platform Thursday, and the student can select some among different field of design. It can be medical design, it can be service design, it can be retail design. Some projects are in collaboration with the Ministry of Manpower, Ministry of Education, some company like L'Oréal, Shiseido, but also some company like IBM. Some students test different discipline in the design world and come back the next semester. They want definitely to develop their skill and their expertise in this domain. So definitely that the platform system from the second year, it's a very, very good opportunity to try to find your domain of interest and eventually to pursue. Some of the students who win some kind of a little competition with those different partners from the industry are going in internship during 6 months, and usually the company is offering a full-time job later. So the platform is the opportunity to find some domain of predilection, some domain of some preferences.
Yeah, that you wish to like further pursue and explore. Maybe could you give maybe some examples of like past students that you know who have through ID has specialized into more specific
I
domains?
don't have the name, but we have a few examples of the students who start with Dr. Yen in medical design and who have show very strong interest for this field. They follow 2 or 3 platforms with him, and they develop some project at the master level, and now they are working with him or for some hospital. We have some example of students who have been working in service design for some project with some bank, who are now working with DBS. I remember.
Yeah, quite a few students there now.
We have also numerous students who have been developing some project with L'Oréal, Guerlain from the average group, Estée Lauder, Shiseido, Origins, who are currently working in this industry, and we have example of Luc Pan, who is one of the person which have quite high responsibility in Estée Lauder, Singapore. Ying Yang, Sebastian, who is now also working in the design department of Shiseido Travel Retail, Valérie, etc., etc. So definitely the platform open different opportunity. We have a few people working for Philips Design, also for IBM, and now those students working for those companies come back to us and conduct some platform representing their company, which is very good.
Who came back from IBM to conduct a platform?
I forgot his name, but we have 4 or 5 person currently, for former students who are currently working in IBM.
Anyway, for those of you who just joined, there are about 6 people now. Prof. Christian, the head of the, he was saying, sharing some students who've been in the ID who have done specializations through the different platforms, a few in medical design, a few in spatial retail, and
service
now
design also.
Service design too. Yeah, it's just some examples of different things that you could specialize in. Hope that answers your question, Kelly. Thanks for your question.
Thank you.
Okay, for those of you who just joined us, feel free to click onto the questions icon at the bottom of the screen to submit a question, and then we can pin it, and Prof. Christian will try to answer it. Okay, let me see if there are more. If not, while waiting, maybe tell us more about maybe the last time that you felt like you really thought that you were in the right place, teaching in the right place. Like what happened?
It's a very I've the chance to teach fundamental here, and also to teach a final year, and also some platform. So it's always fantastic to see how we can help a student to develop his or her skill, but also to build personality, and to see the autonomy of our students. Because we are not, the difference between our school and some other school in Singapore is we want to develop some people who are able to work alone, develop a very, very strong personality. Some of our students, I think one year, about 20% of our students build their own business, became entrepreneur. So our students have a reputation to be able to adapt themselves in a very, very different environment, show a certain maturity. So we are not only developing skill, but also some capacity to deal with the management, strategy, logistics, etc., which require a certain intelligence.
Thanks, Christian. Okay, we have one question from Rin, actually our student. What are some essential characteristics a DID student should have? Maybe you could name like 3.
Let's say, first of all, to be passionate by design, to really love the environment. Design is a very it's huge domain, okay? And everything in our environment is related to design. So to be a designer is not from 9 a.m. until 5 p.m. To be a designer is 24 hours a day. It's to be completely passionate and also extremely, I would like to say the second quality would be to be extremely curious about our environment. The source of inspiration of a designer is not coming only from the design field. I would like to say usually it's not coming. It's coming from the different domain. A designer should be curious about literature, should be curious about cartoon, about art. They should appreciate good food, appreciate good wine. To be a designer is very. I would like to say a designer is one person who enjoys life and can find some source of inspiration from absolutely any domain and any scale. So just a promenade at the botanic garden could be a source of inspiration. Also look at something which is not beautiful, maybe ugly, could be also a reaction and source of inspiration. So the notion of curiosity is very important.
So maybe, why do you think curiosity is so important?
Because the source of inspiration of the designer, a designer is, I forgot one of the, yes, it's Manuel Tarditz from Mikanguri who said that the designer is like a sponge. We are absorbing our environment. The last quality, the third quality for me is to accept to fail, to be confronted to the problem during the design process. It's absolutely normal to try a proportion or develop a system and it's not working. The confrontation to the mistake and to the problem should not be considered like something wrong, but it's definitely a motor of creativity. It's because we are facing problem that we think more and we progress. And the Singaporean system has been built on the no mistake. We don't make mistake. It's good to make mistake, so it's good to be. I would like to say possessed by our project, and we fail or we are confronted to a problem. It's not a problem, it's a new parameter that you have to take in consideration. So we encourage our students to make a lot of prototype, and it's because they are confronted to the problem that they are progressing a lot.
Yeah, thanks for sharing this, because as you were sharing that one important thing a designer should have is the courage to just keep making mistakes as quickly as and many times as possible. I think this is a cliche, but it's something that I've been struggling the most with, and I've learned how to do over the 4 years, very slowly. Yeah, because as you said, it's quite ingrained for us to avoid making mistakes. But it's something they have to face each time and to further improve the product, something that we're designing.
I would like to say that when we are talking about constraint, let's say if we are building a house in Finland or a house in Morocco, we are dealing with different cultural contexts, different parameters. The system of construction, the weather, the culture, all those elements we are taking confidence are going to nourish a project. So if we are dealing with a certain number of issues, we should not consider this so much as a problem, but as a parameter that we should take in consideration. And more we have constraint in one way, more it helps us to be more creative, because it pushes us to the limit. And this is absolutely universal in the design field.
Thanks, Christian. Yeah, hope that answers your question. Thanks for the really good question, Rin. Okay, there are more questions coming in. Let's see. Okay, I have a question from Ajit. Thank you for doing this. I was wondering if there's also time to participate in other co-curricular student life activities apart from just studying and doing projects in the ID.
During the courses of the ID, we sometimes organize some workshop with some partner from the industry for 1 week. A few years ago, we have, for instance, a workshop with Decathlon, and Decathlon is quite successful in Singapore. And one of the boss of Decathlon in Singapore was specialized in lighting for outdoor activity. So it was an interesting experience for a student because they have to generate a certain number of system to generate some kind of light, not only for sport but also because Decathlon is covering a lot of outdoor activity, and it was a very, very interesting project. So we are encouraging some interaction in parallel through workshop.
So these are opportunities that you can get outside of class.
Outside of class, yes.
Maybe what about co-curricular, more like leisurely activities? I think he might be asking if there is time apart from, I think he knows that the workload in ID is quite heavy. So is there time for students to engage in co-curricular student life activities?
It depends. It's very important to practice some sports. Some students have some kind of charity. We have also some students who are doing some charity activity, and they are using the charity activity to apply in their design, which was very, very interesting. Of course, but the workload is heavy. Yes, it is. But it's definitely possible to have some activity in parallel, and we encourage that.
Yeah, I think, yes, definitely. For someone who just studied here.
Because it builds the personality. We want the student to go out and...
And we do have friends and students now who's currently... now people who are currently studying, they're also taking up part-time jobs. Also others who are taking part in hall activities if they're staying in residence halls. So I think it's also up to the individual to learn how to manage their own time. And to set the balance between...
But there is a long tradition in industrial design and in architecture, also in graphic design, that the students are sometimes doing some internship in parallel during their vacation of a few hours a week. It's something quite normal, and it's something we nourish in one way, the study, definitely. Yes.
Thanks, Christian. Hope this answers your question, Ajit. Okay, let's see. There's more. Okay, we have another question from Kelly. Has DID worked with non-profits in the past?
Non-profit organization, absolutely, yes. Yes. We have been working with different organization, charity organization, doing the platform with our colleague Gigi, which is specialized in service design. I think this year there is a GU who's also developing one project, there is one project with one non-profit organization. Yes, there is few. When we are selecting the project with different partners, public or private, we are not selecting the project because of the name, only the name. We need to estimate the pedagogical impact of this platform. If the partner from the industry is just coming here to fetch some good idea, we are not interested. We are interested that there is some exchange between our students. And it's also a very, very good opportunity for the company to look at a potential candidate. So some student who did not win the competition, the platform, has been recruited straight away by L'Oréal because the personality of the student was so good and the project was also very, very good. So we are selecting the partner. It can be also a charity organization, whether non-profit, as long as it's a benefit. It has to be win-win. Win for NOS and win for the company.
So what are some examples, of non-profits that we've worked with?
I remember, I don't have the name, but it was one organization, and it was a project done by Gigi in service design to help some family, very poor family in Singapore, the parents have no time to help the student for their course, to supervise the student after the class. So it was some kind of extra class and extra activity. This is one. We have also some project. We know that there is not so many homeless in Singapore, but there is in any country people with some difficulty. So I don't remember the name of this organization. It was a project with GU, or colleague, one of my former students, who is now working with stock design, and it was related to people who have who are in a huge precarity financially, to help them. We have some projects also which are not exactly. It's a kind of non-profit. It was a Minister of Manpower who contacted us to try to set a system of communication between the worker from Bangladesh, between all the companies and also the government, how to develop some kind of pamphlet or some kind of documentation to help a new worker arriving in Singapore who speaks very little English to find his way to solve his problem at the medical level, the bank, accommodation and everything. So it was a very, very good communication between NUS students, the companies who employ construction company for me, the government, the Minister of Manpower, and the representative of those country of worker.
Nice question. Yeah, actually, when I first came into ID, like in year 2, there was also a MOM project that I worked on. And it was the brief was very broad, like to how to design for more sustainable relationships between foreign domestic workers and their employers, families. So that was with Ministry of Manpower.
Yes, this project.
To me, it was surprising because I think initially my conception of what design was is that it's always flashy and like, oh, like it's a designer label. But I think that that platform was one of the first things that changed my perception. Yeah, that design could be like more human-centered and could also play a part in different sectors. Yeah,
and at the end of the day, we are not providing a product, but more a system. So,
thanks, Christian. Hope that answers your question, Kelly. Okay. I think we'll need to end soon because it was supposed to be a half an hour live chat.
Okay,
thanks everyone for all the questions. If you have an urgent one, just quickly type it into the question mark icon and we'll answer it. Just one last question. But if not, maybe we could end off with just last words or advice for our prospective students who are currently still considering which uni course they wish to join.
I would like to say that when we start this program of industrial design 20 years ago, I arrived here 17 years or 18 years ago. NUS was the only one program of industrial design in Singapore. Now we have different universities which they are not exactly a competitor because we have very good contact with them. Let's call them partner, like SUTD and TU, etc. And I would like to say that the offer we have in Singapore is more complementary. I find that we are in our domain of expertise. If our friends are visiting our website, is very broad, very large. There is a large proposition. Some places like NTU are more in graphic design and communication. Also, SUTD is definitely more engineering. So everyone has, each school has its own DNA. So I encourage you to visit the different websites and also to listen regularly this different some kind of conversation we have with all my colleagues, with you, to really select this program if you are very, very motivated.
Yeah, agree. Yeah, check out other courses and their websites.
Yes, it's very important that the decision is that will be your decision, and we are looking for passionate students.
Okay. Thanks, Christian, for taking so much time to just chat and answer questions.
It's my duty.
Hey, thanks guys for participating. Feel free to join the next live chat. It's with Prof. Don Koh. It will be at 4 p.m. today, so just keep a lookout for that. Okay, thanks guys for staying on. Okay, bye.
Bye-bye.